Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 8th of December. Pakistan allows Indian national Jadhav's wife, mother to meet him on December 25th. Counting of votes for parliamentary and provincial elections begins in Nepal. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday held several public rallies in poll-bound western Gujarat province. His visit to his home province Gujarat is crucial as it goes for polls on December 9th and 14th.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday held a public rally in Banaskantha district of his home province Gujarat. His visit to Gujarat was crucial as Gujarat goes to polls for first phase of assembly polls on Saturday. The second phase of Gujarat polls will be held on December 14. Modi took a dig at opposition Congress party and highlighted his ruling Bharatiya Janata Party's achievement in the province. He said his party will work for the upliftment of the poor with its progressive policies. The elections will pit the ruling BJP against opposition Congress party. The results for the two-phase election will be declared on December 18.
India's Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Friday said that Pakistan has allowed Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav's mother and wife to travel to the country to meet him on December 25th. Jadhav, accused of espionage, is on a death row in Pakistan. India has strongly denied the allegations against the Indian national.
India's Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Friday said that Pakistan had conveyed to India that it would give visas to the mother and wife of Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav. Swaraj, in a series of tweets, said she had spoken to Jadhav's mother, Avantika Jadhav, and informed her about it. Pakistan has allowed that Jadhav, a death row prisoner in the country on charges of espionage, will be allowed to meet his wife and mother on December 25. 47-year-old Indian national Jadhav was given death sentence by a Pakistani military court earlier this year, following which India moved the International Court of Justice or ICJ in May. The ICJ halted his execution on India's appeal pending the final verdict by it. It also directed Pakistan to submit its counter-memorial in the case by December 13.
In news from Pakistan, US President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital has prompted a wave of protest across Islamic countries. Protests were held across Pakistan on Thursday against the move, which Arab and European leaders have warned could destroy hopes of reviving the Mideast peace process.
Hundreds of Pakistanis on Thursday demonstrated across the country against US President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Around 150 people demonstrated in Pakistan's Karachi city in a protest organized by major Islamic party Jamaat-e-Islami. The protesters burned US and Israeli flags and chanted slogans against Trump's move. Smaller protests were also held in Lahore, Peshawar and other cities, and political and religious groups have announced more protests in the coming days.
डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने कल जो ऐलान किया है, ये ऐलान पूरी मुस्लिम उम्मत के खिलाफ है, हमारे क़िबला अव्वल के ऊपर हमला किया है, उसने खूनी लकीर खींची है, हम इस लकीर को किसी सूरत नहीं बरकरार रहने देंगे, इसको मिटा देंगे। हम हमास की तहरीक मुज़ाहिमत के साथ हैं और हम ये समझते हैं कि दुनिया के तमाम इंसाफ पसंद इंसानों को जो अमेरिका में भी रहते हैं उन्हें इसके खिलाफ उठकर खड़ा होना चाहिए।
In Pakistani capital Islamabad city, around 100 protesters took part in demonstrations organized by Difa-e-Pakistan Council or DPC, an Islamic organization. The status of Jerusalem, home to sites holy to the Muslim, Jewish and Christian religions, has been one of the thorniest issues in long-running Mideast peace efforts. US President Donald Trump reversed decades of US policy with his decision and also promised to move the US embassy there. The international community does not recognize Israeli sovereignty over the whole of Jerusalem, believing its status should be resolved in negotiations.
In news from Afghanistan, around 27 Afghan refugees who were deported from Germany arrived home on Thursday. The Afghan Ministry of Refugees, upon their arrival, said the German government had deemed the youths a threat to the nation's interest for allegedly being involved in criminal activities.
At least 27 Afghan refugees who were deported from Germany arrived home on Thursday. The Afghan Ministry of Refugees and Repatriation, on their return, said the German government had deemed some of them a threat to their national interests as they allegedly committed crimes there. The families of the deported, on the other hand, say before the return, their children were jailed and have been forcefully returned.
فرانسه رفتن 9 ماه به فرانسه پایدن 9 ماه بعد با جرمنی که اونجا 60شان برآمدن در فرانسه باز پس به جرمنی ایمیل کردن جرمنی گفتن که اینا را پس روان کنید
20 میلیون در پول ایران خرج کردم پول افغانستان نمیدونم ما چون در افغانستان نبودیم باز دیگه 20 میلیون خرج کردم در پول ایران رفت 20 روزم در راه بودم 2.5 سال در آلمان بودم.
Migrants from the Middle East, Africa and elsewhere have been arriving in Germany since 2015 in search of work or in hope of starting a better life there. However, this has prompted concerns about security and integration in the country, resulting to such refugee deports.
In news from Bangladesh, Rohingya refugees who have been fleeing to Bangladesh escaping violence in Myanmar are continuing to do so, the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR said on Thursday. The remarks by UNHCR came after Bangladesh and Myanmar last month set a timetable to allow the Rohingyas to return home.
Rohingyas who have been fleeing to neighbouring Bangladesh following a military crackdown in Myanmar are continuing to do so, the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR said on Thursday. The remarks by UNHCR came after Bangladesh and Myanmar last month decided over a timetable to allow Rohingya refugees to return home. Addressing a press conference in Bangladeshi capital Dhaka, a senior UNHCR official said the number of refugees, however, appears to have slowed.
As you know, since August 25th, there have been some 625,000 Rohingya refugees from Myanmar who have come into Bangladesh. More than 100 days on, this continues to be the fastest moving refugee crisis in the world. Refugees are arriving at a rate of about 1,500 persons per week now.
The military crackdown in Myanmar's Rakhine province was prompted in August after Rohingya insurgents attacked security posts. A top UN human rights official this week said Myanmar's security forces may be guilty of genocide against the Rohingya Muslim minority. Bangladesh and Myanmar agreed on November 23rd to start the return of Rohingyas within 2 months. However, it did not say when the process would be complete.
Moving on to news from Nepal, the counting of votes for the second phase of parliamentary and provincial polls in Nepal began on Friday. The vote counting of the districts, which were under the first phase, also kicked off after the completion of the second round of polling on Thursday. Nepal's Election Commission has put the preliminary voter turnout for the second phase at 67%. As per a parliamentary voting result in the country, the left alliance comprising of CPN-UML and CPN-Maoist Centre is leading the chart, with the Nepali Congress following it in the first phase of the polls. Nepal witnessed the historic polls in 2 phases on November 26th and on December 7th respectively. The election results are expected to be announced by December 25th. Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama on Friday called for peace and compassion while addressing school students in India's western Mumbai city. He also encouraged the younger generation to study India's ancient philosophy while imparting life lessons.
Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama on Friday said the younger generation needs to focus and learn more about India's ancient knowledge in order to move forward. He made the remarks while addressing hundreds of school children in India's western Mumbai city. He also called for peace and compassion while encouraging students to study Indian philosophy.
You are the younger generation. Actually, you are future of India. Please pay more attention about these ancient Indian knowledge. It's another thing, modern scientists, modern education, wonderful, very useful.
Basically, it talked about Buddha, karma and all, and he told that we should, exactly study that Indian philosophy and all of those things.
The Dalai Lama, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989, fled into exile in India in 1959 and has lived mostly in India's northern Himachal Pradesh province since then.
An international weaving festival attracted crowds to Dimapur city of India's northeastern Nagaland province. The three-day festival, which concluded on Thursday, promoted the art of weaving and hosted various competitions for the locals.
Hundreds of visitors and locals thronged the annual weaving festival in Dimapur city of India's northeastern Nagaland province. The three-day loin loom festival, which concluded on Thursday, aimed to generate awareness about Nagaland's heritage and revitalize loin loom culture. For every Naga woman, weaving is a very important tradition that has been passed down from generations. They knit and weave bedspreads, cushion covers and several contemporary products from looms.
We hadn't heard of or even known about these beautiful fabrics till we arrived here at the Loin Loom Festival, and now that we see with how much care and effort and love goes into these beautiful fabrics, we want to take them home.
I'm so happy that I am attending this festival. It's such a beautiful thing, and the women are doing a fabulous job. Their art is unbeatable, and I wish them all the very best.
The entire northeastern province waits for this festival year-long. The festival has emerged as one of the most popular attractions for tourists from different parts of the world due to skills and textiles of the province.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Pakistan allows international Jadhav's wife mother to meet him on December 25. Counting of votes for parliamentary and provincial elections begins in Nepal. And Bollywood's latest comedy film, Fukrey Returns, hits theatres this weekend. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.